What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. This time, we're going to jump back over to DC Comics, and we're going to cover another Batman book. This is known as The Heart of Hush. This was one of the few stories before the New 52 that had Hush as the main bad guy. Batman's old childhood friend, Thomas Elliot. Except this time, his goal is to attack Batman at the heart. And the big question is, how will Hush do that? Well, you'll find out in today's video. So hit that like button down below and subscribe. But here we go, Batman, Heart of Hush. So in the opening pages of this book, we pick up with a guy named Lefty, who is going around trying to escape some dogs that are chasing him down. The reason why this man Lefty is being chased down by dogs is because Lefty had failed to cross a villain named Dr. Aesop, which honestly is just some guy who's the leader of a gang. But while these dogs are about to kill Lefty, that is when we see Catwoman come in and save this person named Lefty. The reason why she saved Lefty is because Lefty is really Batman in disguise. He was hoping to work his way into the Dr. Aesop gang and take him down from the inside out. But now they need a new plan. Now at this point, Batman and Catwoman were really becoming a couple. They were still on that borderline of if they are a couple or not. Once they leave, that is when you have Hush watching Batman and Catwoman from a far distance. Now, for the new fans out there who don't know who Hush is, well, he was the childhood best friend of Bruce Wayne. As we progress deeper into this video, I will touch on the origin of Hush more. Just know that he always has been trying to have a better life than Bruce Wayne, and also blames Bruce Wayne for some other things. Now, the reason why he is back in Gotham is because he heard about a gang that was trying to get rid of Bruce Wayne, and to Hush, he is the only one who is going to take down Batman. Now, we also learned that Hush was able to find some old hospital and was able to remodel the place inside to run different operations. Everyone who works in this hospital is made by Hush. They are sedated with some kind of medication that makes them want to work for Hush. Then we see the story tell us that Hush always had a mentor, and we are going to learn who this mentor is down the road. Something else to point out about Hush is that he is always changing his face, always doing plastic surgery on himself to give himself a new appearance. But diving into the origin of Thomas Elliot, we get reminded that when Thomas and Wayne were kids, Thomas actually cut the brake lines to his parents' car, hoping to kill them. The reason why is because Elliot's father was abusive, and his mother never did anything because she would do anything to keep the rich class lifestyle in her life. So she was also abusive, except after the accident, Thomas' father died, but his mother was saved thanks to Bruce Wayne's father. That is one reason why Thomas hates Bruce Wayne for. If Bruce Wayne's father wasn't around, Thomas' mother would have died too, except she's alive and well. Now, I think this is the first moment we learn that Thomas' mother was kind of mentally abusing Thomas, or abusing him in different ways that doesn't require her to actually hurt her son. Every time Thomas' father would abuse him, his mom didn't do anything, but we are going to learn later on in this book some of the messed up things she did to her son, because at first she was just an overbearing mother. We then switch over to Dr. Aesop, who is still running his gang. Now remember, Batman was hoping to take the gang down from the inside. Since he failed, he decided that he and Catwoman would just break into the base of Dr. Aesop and take him down the old-fashioned way. Honestly, this fight doesn't and shouldn't take long since Dr. Aesop is just some random guy. The problem is when Dr. Aesop tries to leave the warehouse before he is captured by Batman and Catwoman. He is killed by someone who shoots him in the chest. Of course, that person who shot the doctor was Hush himself, which of course is him telling Batman that he is back in town and trying to cause some major problems for Batman. Batman gets Catwoman somewhere safe just in case Hush tries to kill her as a way to get to Batman. Once Batman makes it to the level of the warehouse Hush was at, well, Hush is already gone, and this tells Batman that he is now going to hunt down his best friend again, also wondering what Hush could be up to. Now, with the second chapter, we pick up with a Batman arriving at the fake hospital that Hush had built in Gotham. So with this happening, you think that this is Batman being able to find the base of Hush, except maybe that he is going to be kidnapped by Hush or knocked out by Hush. So we get to see the two of them fighting in the middle of the hospital, but after a few pages, we see Hush being able to shoot Batman, which is making it seem that Hush just had killed Batman, which is huge for just the second chapter of the book. But before we can confirm that Hush had just killed Batman, we have Hush thinking back to a time where he and Bruce Wayne were at a summer camp. This, of course, picks up after Thomas Elliot had tried to kill his parents, but of course, only was able to kill one of his parents. His mother has survived the car crash, but now she is overprotective. That Thomas Elliot had told young Bruce Wayne that he was only able to come to this camp because Martha Wayne, the mother to Bruce Wayne, was able to convince Thomas Elliot's mother to let him go. Also that this was the moment Thomas Elliot told Bruce Wayne that his father was abusive. Now, with his mom being overprotective, we see that she was unable to let her son stay at the camp like she promised, because she was afraid that her son could have died. But Thomas Elliot's mother makes a scene at the camp that there is another kid there that makes fun of Thomas Elliot, calling him a mommy's boy, since his mom has basically embarrassed him, which led to young Thomas Elliot grabbing a shovel and smacking this kid who was making fun of him in the face. Except with Thomas doing that, they had him checked into a mental institution because he was diagnosed with having anger issues. This is the moment we learn that after he was thrown into this place, he was then assigned to have therapy sessions with Dr. Crane. Of course, that name should be so familiar to you because it is basically Scarecrow, except this was a time before Dr. Crane had became Scarecrow, where he was just a psychiatrist. Either way, you have Dr. Crane being intrigued about the secrets young Thomas Elliot had. Of course, he tried to kill his parents, but they made a deal that if Crane is able to get Thomas out early, Thomas will tell him all of his fears, how Thomas' fears makes him do horrible things. For Crane, he is happy because he loves to hear about people's fears. But getting back to the present day, we learned that the Batman that was killed was just somebody Hush had dressed up to be Batman, because it is fun to kill Batman in his head. We then switch over to Nightwing and Tim Drake Robin, who are dealing with some low-level thugs. Now, honestly, this at first could be seen as a way to remind us about how these two characters are in Batman comics and give us some cool fight scenes, but there is a reason why that these two characters are here for. The reason why I say that is because you have Batman jump in to help the boys take down these thugs because he needs to talk to Robin and Nightwing. And the reason why he wants to meet up with Robin and Nightwing is because it's Hush. Hush could come after the two boys that Batman looks at as his sons. And because Hush is a kind of person who would go after people that is close to Batman, people that Batman truly loves, that means everybody is on deck. Alfred, Nightwing, Robin, and even Catwoman herself. And so it is Batman saying, you need to watch out for yourself because Hush is back in town. Now this is the moment you have Catwoman meeting up with Zatanna. Now the reason why is because Batman and Catwoman at this point in DC Comics were very close and were dating, except they began dating after Batman, I want to say, had a short fling with Zatanna. So it is Catwoman making sure that Batman has moved on and Zatanna is not going to come back for her man. Also trying to learn from Zatanna what it's like to date Bruce Wayne and wondering how it would go with them being together. To close on the second chapter of the book, you have Hush basically watching Catwoman and Zatanna from afar. But the reason why is because Hush is planning to come after Catwoman. But before he does that, he calls up his partner for this book, which is going to be Scarecrow, which makes sense because the two of them met a while back. Either way, we see that at the hospital that Hush had built, he had a child there, and now the child is with Scarecrow to continue to help with whatever Hush's big plan is. But this tells us right now that Scarecrow was Hush's mentor. Except when we jump into the third chapter of this book, we don't get to see the plan for the child just yet. Instead, we see Hush go after Catwoman. The reason why is because she is dating Batman. This is him attacking Batman in the heart. It is Hush wondering how else can he hurt Bruce Wayne. Well, why not try to get rid of the woman he loves at the moment? Of course, Catwoman does try to fight back, but of course, she is shocked to see what Hush has done to his face. Remember that he was a top-notch plastic surgeon, but he did something with his face that made Catwoman stop attacking, which gives Hush the chance to stab her and take her hostage. But switching over to Batman, he has no idea that his lady had just been kidnapped. Instead, he found out about the boy from earlier, because that boy was reported to the police that he is missing. So it is him trying to save this boy, because he learned that Scarecrow has him, which when he does get to the cave, the boy's being held at, Batman is confronted by Scarecrow, but Scarecrow disappears, which to Batman, that seems sketchy, but of course, he doesn't have time. He is here to save the boy that was kidnapped, which he does find. Here comes the messed up part of this story. Scarecrow and Hush actually planned to give the boy Venom, that same drug that was used on Bane to make Bane that huge monster-like character. So of course you now have a little boy who grows in size because he is being pumped with Venom. Also that once the Venom takes over the boy, he loses control and he is now attacking Batman, which honestly means Batman needs to find a way to save the boy from the Venom drug and still stop Scarecrow, who is somewhere in the room. But before we can see Batman being able to do that, well, you have the story switch over to Hush, who's about to do surgery on Catwoman. Now, if you remember the name of this book, well, you know what he's about to do to Catwoman. He is going to take out the heart of Catwoman, because the last time he was around, Joker had put a pacemaker to his heart. Except we get another flashback. This time it is when Thomas and Bruce are now young adults. Really right in the late teens maybe. Either way, this is when we learn after Bruce's parents died, he has been traveling the world. But Bruce had always tried to keep up with Thomas, but unfortunately, they haven't seen each other. The reason why is because Thomas' mother began to control his every move, meaning that she controlled the money, so Thomas couldn't leave to do what he wanted, like medical school. This is also the moment we learn that she verbally abused him by just calling him horrible things, basically wishing Bruce Wayne is her son, or was her son, sorry. And Thomas can't leave because when Thomas' father died, the money is now in her name. So he doesn't have a penny to his name unless his mom dies. This is also the moment we learn that Thomas had a love interest, and her name is, or was, Peyton Riley, who is going through the same situation that Thomas is going through, except for her, it is her dad, since her dad is a mobster. Like, he runs a gang, so he is also overprotective. With her being around, of course, it makes Thomas' mother angry because she is now seeing her son with a different woman. Back in the present day, we see Batman still dealing with the little boy that is being affected by the Venom drug. So you have Batman do some moves to pull Scarecrow in front of the boy, which makes the boy actually knock out Scarecrow for Batman, but gives Batman the time he needs to cut the tubes to stop the pumping of the venom going into the boy. You then have Batman ask Scarecrow why he and Hush went after the boy. Scarecrow tells Batman that the boy was only used as a way to distract Batman long enough. Once Batman is done with Scarecrow, he gets a call from Oracle, aka Barbara Gordon. This was, of course, before the New 52, so she is still in the wheelchair, but she is the computer person for the Bat family, where you have Oracle tell Batman that she got word Catwoman was dropped off at the hospital and she is in a critical situation. So that makes Batman run over to the hospital to see if it is true, and he finds out that Hush has taken Catwoman's heart, meaning that Batman is going to go after Hush to get the heart back from Hush. Now, of course, this is Batman upset with the fact that his lady had her heart taken out, which honestly, he has the right to. So he breaks into Arkham Asylum because Scarecrow was Hush's partner and must know where Hush is hiding at. So this is Batman just beating down on Scarecrow until he tells him where in the world Hush is hiding at. Scarecrow tries at first not to tell Batman anything at all, but of course, Batman is able to get a location for Hush, and Batman leaves to finally stop his old childhood friend. Then another set of pages that show us that Batman left Selina with Midnight and Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific is just a super smart character. I think before the New 52, he is the third smartest. After the New 52, he was a second. Either way, he is there to see if he can figure out how to help Selina, because the tech that is hooked up to Selina is somehow keeping her alive and well without her heart. The tech is very advanced, but for Dr. Midnight, he's just there to be the doctor for Selina just in case anything goes wrong with her while Batman tries to stop Hush and get her heart back. There's a moment where we see Hush is getting ready for Batman because he knows that Batman is coming for him, since he did just take the heart of Catwoman from her, and that makes Batman angry. But we have to jump back in the past one more time, where we see Thomas Elliot finally snapped at his mother because he wanted his mother to meet his girlfriend Peyton Riley, but his mother didn't. She hates the idea of her son having another woman in his life, so she talks trash about her because Peyton's father is a gangster. She thinks her son is ruining the family name by being with Peyton. Plus, she brings up how great Bruce Wayne is, which makes Thomas angry since she is always comparing the two boys to one another. So he just snaps because all he wants to be is happy, have his girlfriend around, and go to medical school. But his mom is once again just trying to control him. After he has that argument with his mother, Thomas meets up with his girlfriend Peyton because she wants to meet Thomas' mother, and Thomas is trying to tell her that his mother is a piece of work, that his mother really hates Peyton because of who her family is. Either way, Peyton still wants to try to meet Thomas' mother and hopes to change her mind about her. But back in the present day, we see that Batman has made it into Hush Hospital and they begin fighting, which is expected. This fight does go on for a short period of time. Once it gets to the moment where they can finally have some kind of conversation, you have Batman ask why he went after Catwoman. To Hush, it is the woman Batman loves. It makes sense. He always wanted to attack Batman at the heart, but he did it in a way of getting the woman who has a hold of Batman's heart, Catwoman. Which then you have Hush tell Batman that after his last visit in Gotham, where the Joker had put a pacemaker into his heart, he was able to remove it, but it made him want to study the heart even more to get a better understanding of it. But then he walks Batman into a room to show Batman where he is holding Catwoman's heart at the moment. In a special room, he is holding Catwoman's heart in some kind of tech that was made by Mr. Freeze, which is keeping her heart alive and pumping. So that means Batman will be able to get the heart back to Catwoman, except once Batman had walked into the room, it was a trap. There is some gas that is pumping into the room, but the gas activates a certain kind of chemical that can slow someone down. That chemical was put on Batman when he touched the boy who was kidnapped earlier. The boy was a distraction, but also used as a backup plan to stop Batman. Either way, you didn't have Hush reveal to Batman what kind of surgery he has been doing on his face. Hush had changed his face to look like Bruce Wayne. To close on the 4th chapter, you didn't have Hush tell us his next part of his plan. Hush changed his face so that it will give Hush the chance to get close enough to everyone close to Batman. So that means Alfred, Tim Drake, and Dick Grayson, so that he can put a bullet in their heads and make Batman feel more pain. While Hush is doing that, he will leave Batman here so that Batman can watch Catwoman's heart slowly die. And of course, his plan is to have Batman die at the end. So with the final chapter of the book, we see Hush crash into Wayne's manor, making it seem like he is Bruce Wayne, acting like he was badly injured, trying to trick Alfred to take him to the Batcave, pretending that he needs some kind of medical help. But at first, it seems like Alfred is falling for it and actually going to let Hush into the Batcave, except Alfred tells us that Batman had already called, meaning that Batman had escaped and is trying to catch up to Hush. Also tells Hush that his staff was unable to hold down the Batman. We jump back 20 minutes ago, where we see that before Hush had left Batman in that room, he talked about how Mr. Freeze helped him, how Mr. Freeze was happy to make some kind of machine to keep a heart alive. Also costs a lot of money as well. But before Hush left the room, Batman was able to grab the necklace of Hush's neck to hit him in the head. Hush is upset, but he leaves, hoping that his henchmen would be enough to stop Batman. Of course, we now know they weren't, since Alfred did say Batman was able to call him from the car. So once Batman is free, he calls up Dr. Midnight and Mr. Terrific to retrieve the heart, while Batman goes to catch up to Hush. So we go back to the present day, where we see Batman fighting against Hush in Wayne's manor, which is showing us how the two of them are kind of sharing blows. But really, Bruce Wayne has the advantage here. This is his home. He knows where to hide. But then Hush falls into the Batcave, letting us see Hush being in the Batcave for the first time. To Hush, this makes him even more upset, because all of the tech, cars, and weapons shows that once Bruce's parents died, Bruce was able to live out a dream that he had, something Hush really couldn't do until his mother had died, which we are going to jump into now. Now, we have to jump back to the past again, because remember, Thomas' girlfriend Peyton was supposed to meet Thomas' mother, hoping that she can convince Thomas' mother that she is actually a good person. Except when they arrive at Thomas' home, Thomas finds out that his mother had changed the will, where his mother cut him off from the family's money because the lawyer is leaving with the new version of the will, all because Thomas is dating Peyton, hoping it would make him get rid of Peyton to stay with his mom. Now Peyton is outside of the room, but as she is hearing all of this, she decides to help her man out by getting back in the car and killing the lawyer before the lawyer is able to complete the change of the will. But with Thomas' mother doing something horrible to Thomas, he decides to tell his mom how he tried to kill her the same day his dad died. Remember, Thomas wanted to kill his parents because his dad was abusive and his mom did not help him. She let her husband beat down on Thomas because she was afraid if she stepped in, she would have lost all of the money. He had cut the brake lines hoping to kill them both, but she lived. Now Hush is getting verbally abused by her. So he's like, that is enough. So he kills her by suffocating her with a pillow. Once she is dead, Peyton comes back and tells Thomas that her dad is helping them cover up their 2 recent murders and leave. Back in the present day, we see Batman and Hush are fighting against each other in the Batcave. Again, they are sharing blows to one another, but this fight gets more interesting because you have Alfred get to the Bat computer where he turns on the mechanical T-Rex to hopefully be the thing to finally stop Hush. Of course, it won't be what stops him since you have Hush use his guns to just shoot down the T-Rex to continue to battle Batman. But then Robin and Nightwing come in to join the battle. So this is showing how Hush really doesn't stand a chance here, that he is going to lose here. There are now 3 against 1. Maybe you can say 4 against 1 since Alfred is there too. But of course, Hush realized that he needs to leave. So he turns around and tries to escape by using the Whirly Bat. Yes, that is the actual name of it. Batman does jump on the Whirly Bat as well, but something to point out is that Batman got rid of his cape. There is a good reason why, because the main motor actually grabs onto Hush bandages, which begins to strangle him. So it gives Batman the chance to actually jump off, but then the Whirly Bat explodes, making us believe that maybe Hush is actually dead now. Actually, the next page, we see the Bat family tending to their injuries. You have Dick and Tim tell us they try to find any evidence of Hush in the Batcave, but couldn't find anything. Some time passes by. We see Dr. Midnight actually doing surgery to put Catwoman's heart back in her. But while he's performing the surgery on Catwoman, in her head, she is confronted by Zatanna. Once again, this is just DC saying that Zatanna and Batman love thing is done now. Batman is going to be with Catwoman and also gives Catwoman some kind of medicine that is going to help Catwoman scar heal up and also wishing Catwoman good luck. But once the surgery is done, you have Batman come by to see the woman he loves so much. But once he gets there, he tells her how badly he loves her, how badly he wants her in his life, that he should stop trying to push her away and actually let her be with him. And he tells her that he loves her. She comes back to say that she heard everything because he thought she was asleep. Some more time has passed by. We see Catwoman chilling on some kind of island. We see her recording a video that she is going to send to Hush to tell him how he had failed. Also how she had called in some friends to help her get back at Hush for what he did. She had Oracle find which banks had all of his accounts. Harley Quinn went to steal from their safes. Poison Ivy was able to find some of his hiding places, and her friend, who is a detective, Sam Bradley, he went around and started interrogating all of Hush's friends to find any information where Hush could be at. Then, the last page is to show us that Hush is still alive, but now broken and broke. And this is where we are going to end today's video. So please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read? Well, please let me know in the comments below because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoy today's video.